actor Deepika Padukone has reached the guest house where the SIT is probing and looking into the drug abuse angle in the Sushant Singh Rajput probe. Now remember, after the arrest of Riya Chakrabarti, her phone was in custody of the police, and through several WhatsApp chats, they are now widening their investigation which involves the big names of Bollywood as well. Just to be clear at this point, Deepika Padukone, Shraddha Kapoor, Sara Khan, even Deepika's manager and Rakul Preet Singh, all these people who have been called in, none of them are accused. There is nothing against them just yet. This is part of the investigation, and the NCB now has called all of them to come and depose in front of them, answer a few questions. Now, yesterday, Deepika Padukone's manager was called in. Rakul Preet Singh was also called in, while Rakul was allowed to go in a few hours, in about 4 hours or so. Deepika's manager, Karishma Prakash, has been called in for a second day of questioning. In fact, the visuals on your screen are just from minutes ago, where Deepika Padukone reached just in time. 10 o'clock was the time. She was there about 5 minutes before that, and punctually there, posing in front of the NCB. On your screen, that's Deepika Padukone going in to be questioned by the NCB. Saurabh Gupta, Purva Chitnis, both join us for more on this. Saurabh, first up, just to make it clear to our viewers, there's a reason why Deepika Padukone has been called to a separate location, and Sara Khan and Shraddha Kapoor will be going where Purva is. But at this point, what are these two different cases that NCB is looking at, and what do they have? What evidence led them to these names?
Well, there are two cases that have been registered, case 1520 and case 1620. Now, 1620 is actually at the NCB office. 1520, which the, SIT is investigating, which was registered on the basis of the evidence that, the electronic forensic evidence that the Enforcement Directorate handed over to the Narcotics Control Bureau. That case is being investigated here. And, several chats, WhatsApp chats have been recovered, not just from Riya Chakrabarti's phone, but from other people's phone as well. And based on that, separate cases being, so there are two cases that are being investigated parallelly. Now, the other thing is, of course, that, there is also a COVID protocol. There are two teams, two cases, which is why there are two places of investigation. Now, what is the role of the Narcotics Control Bureau? What is the mandate of the Narcotics Control Bureau? The mandate of the Narcotics Control Bureau is to go after larger drug cartel suppliers of drugs. So then obviously the next natural question is, so then why does it go after, let's say, people who at best allegedly may be individual consumers of drugs, if that's the allegation that's being made? Now, the Narcotics Control Bureau says that, look, yes, our mandate is to go after larger drug cartels, but if there is evidence, then we need to process that evidence. We need to question people to see how these cartels were linked, networked in the industry. And that's why we are calling everyone whose name has come up for questioning. They are recording their statements. They've been asked to join the investigation. And if there is evidence to suggest that they have consumed drugs, then the appropriate sections law will be applied. If there's any evidence to presume that, look, they supplied drugs to others as well, and they are part of this supply network, then the appropriate sections will be applied on that. So these are investigations that are still in progress. People are jumping the gun every day on what conclusion has been reached, but it is at this point an investigation that hasn't really named someone as an accused in the sense that somebody is a drug supplier or someone is, actually, part of the illicit drug network, trade network. These are things that have to be established by the investigation. If the NCB finds enough evidence to support these charges, then these sections will be applied. At this point, it's an investigation, and Deepika Padukone is here. She's arrived for questioning as she was called by the NCB. Summons were issued, and also you can see the security arrangements have been made to ensure there's no repeat of, say, what happened with Riya Chakrabarti when she arrived at the Narcotics Control Bureau, where there was a media melee, absolutely no social distancing, and she was hounded So to prevent that, there is enough security arrangements.
Right.
You can see a lot of security personnel have been placed, barricades have been put up, and Deepika Padukone has arrived, and she is at this point being questioned by the Narcotics Control Bureau officers.